dearest mother, the first core memory has unlocked. And whether in a fight or a first date, pressure always works.
Oh gosh, this episode. For once, we actually follow some other students around instead of Kamiyama and co. Instead, we follow. Well, it starts with a false start where it's like, "My name is Yutaka Takanuchi. I am the toughest one here. I am the leader of the first years." And you see him outside
silent,
the bathroom.
Unsinkable battleship.
And then he's like, "And what is it my turn to show up?" Instead, we follow Noboru Yamaguchi, who's the head of another group of people and is also like the leader of a bike gang and also likes comedy, even though everyone around him thinks he doesn't like comedy.
And is also Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the high school that we're following this time is Distrata High.
None of these schools look any different because everyone looks the same.
Also, their uniforms are indistinguishable.
Yes, they like how they're like, we can tell those guys are from Cromartie because they wear Cromartie high school uniforms.
Sounds like an old Dragon Ball Z dub where they had to make sure to tell the audience nobody died.
Exactly. And I was about to bring up Dragon Ball as well because that's how they tell you about the character's information.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, just exposition dumps all over the place. God. So what was it like for y'all to see the first episode without Kamiyama at the helm?
It was fine because it's like it's going to be the same comedy. Like I like Kamiyama, but all of it I like. I will tell you that they're going out of their way to show that they're going out of their way to animate the show even worse, I think now, because I don't know what the description of these lines would be, but they always have I want to say detail lines on characters' faces. And they go out of their way throughout this episode to have one character's detail lines from certain shots clearly show that they're not actually curving on his cheek and they're just going off his face like whiskers. I can't remember if it's the same exact character, but it goes from being just slightly to where they're almost 90 degrees off his face.
Yeah. I think at this point it's easy to assume that it's all intentional.
Yeah.
At this point, because who knows what kind of budget they had on this or what kind of production cycle, and they were just like, we'll just do still frames, just keep the animation errors in. It's going to be funny.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what I love about this. It feels so slapdash, but intentionally so.
I mean, I've heard about these kind of things before. What was it? Battle Angel Alita. The person who made the manga did not like the OVA, so they were just like, "You're only getting 2 episodes. Sorry."
Oh wow, I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah, for some reason, even though the OVA is super well known, and hell, we wouldn't have the movie without the OVA. So
might be the same thing I've heard about Fruits Basket. Apparently, the person that made the manga absolutely abhors the show, and it's not accurate to I haven't seen it. My best friend is now wife, or one of my best friends is now wife. She loves it, and he's telling me all about it, and she doesn't know if she wants to watch it. I'm like, ugh. But yeah, I love how the show attempted to have a plot, and then the show said, no, we're not going to.
Oh, no, it's just
this episode in particular is probably the most anticlimactic, but that's just what makes it funnier.
It is, and it's all basically about Noboru just kind of standing there during a meeting with his gang, and he's just like, man, I wish that other student that I in this room would focus on his comedy. He's really good at it. And the other one would chime in with a weak joke, and then he just gets punched. And they're like, yeah, that's right. He should have known Noboru doesn't like comedy.
Even
and Noboru is just and Noboru is just a comedy snob. He's like, I don't like him because he tells crass sex jokes. And you are all just as bad as him because you laugh at them.
He's basically filmed Twitter in late early 2000s.
Yeah, Yeah, that's actually kind of accurate for him. And then he's just like, I also send jokes to, to the radio and such. And they're at a cafe where they're just like sitting there. Oh no, wait! Before they do that, he's just like, it's like this whole meeting. It says Cromartie this, Cromartie that. It's like, you must be from Cromartie Village since you say so much. I'm going to tell this joke, and then he gets cut off at the end by the same guy.
After talking about, well, if I don't say it, then it's going to be dumb. If I wait too long, I got it. I shouldn't just be I shouldn't be the boss of this club anymore. Having an existential crisis about 14 different things at once.
Exactly. And then they go to the cafe because they're like, this is where the Cromartie students hang out. And all he's thinking about is just like, oh, that darn honey boy. Always putting in the best jokes, sending them all in. Very popular, and apparently. And then it turns out that it's Kamiyama. It just goes by Honey Boy.
Of course it is.
And he's just like, oh my God. Now I could. He's about to drop another one of his famous jokes. Even Kamiyama is just like, nah, if I say it right now, it's gonna sound. Yeah, it's bad.
It's not good. Everyone's gonna laugh at me. He's slinking into his chair. He must be very concentrated.
And then he gets a joke, and it's a terrible joke. No punchline or anything. And even the radio show, it's just like, and it got like, this was a terrible joke.
This idiot's paid by express mail.
Noboru's like, I knew it.
He punked me.
Like, it's some intentional joke when it like planned. And it's like, no, it's not. Kamiyama doesn't care about who, like, half the other people in this whole entire show. They just happen to be around in his like stratosphere of.
Yes, and it's like this whole entire episode had two set pieces. It literally had the cafe and the room.
That's it.
Like this episode was 4 minutes long.
And they stretched it out to 11 minutes.
I'm really surprised they got so much mileage out of like two locations and basically one joke.
It's impressive how they go, and I don't know. It's like, I watched this whole thing a few months ago, and I was just like, there has to be a point where I'm just like, man, I'm getting so tired of the routines, but I'm never getting tired of them. And they just find ways to keep the episode long enough to make sure to get as many jokes as you can and then get out.
Man, every time we're doing this, I keep looking underneath my purse, and all I see is like Tashida's weird pursed kitten lips.
I can see it. And speaking of Hayashida, they do a little more gags with his hair, where it just like, it keeps stretching out.
I thought at one point like the hair would be like wrapped around the guy.
Koriyama.
Yeah.
Kamiyama.
Yeah. Kamiyama. Another lightweight episode, but there's even like the more weaker episode so far. Still find a way to still be very funny. That's what's more important to me. You can consistently be funny. Because there's nothing worse than watching a comedy anime, and then there's just that one episode where it just drops in quality, and it's like, ugh.
Yes, they don't. I want to say they don't shoot for the moon. They know exactly where they're at, and they just keep it there.
Yeah, a lot of these jokes are just pitched right at the plate.
Yes. Yeah, no, and I can't wait until we get to I think it's the next episode where Takenuchi plays a bigger role, because he has probably my favorite gags out of the entire show.
Okay.
And Takeshi Hokuto, another character, the one in the white uniform, also very funny just because of the parody character he plays. So, but outside of that, yeah, another solid little episode.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm still down.
Yeah, absolutely, it's good. All right, Cameron, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on twitter.com/CamsIView. I have my own website called camsiview.biz, where I review animated films and shows from around the world, called The Other Side of Animation. I am the co-host on the Renegade Animation podcast on renegadepopculture.com. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/CampsideView.
All right, Mike, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at CaptainK42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. We're also on YouTube, on Podchaser, on the Banana Meter. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. You can escape, so do we.
Absolutely. You can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero on YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, that's about it. All right, everyone. We will see you next time. Bye.
Peace.